Daubenspeck. Welcome to the Polling Focus podcast.
Man, I'm excited to be here. Thanks, Will.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get right into it. Tell us a little bit more about your background, who you are, where you come from, and what you do.
Yeah, Thorne Daubenspeck. Background is really music entertainment. I've been in kind of the entertainment industry. I call it the making memories business for about over 22 years now. Born outside of Chicago, raised in Connecticut, converted Southerner since 1993, I want to say, or 95, sorry. But fell in love with this whole area. The Triangle is the best, and it's really quality of life. There's a reason why people retire down here, I always say. So, but have two wonderful kids, beautiful wife. Excited to be down here. Held our roots here. Got into the entertainment industry about 20 years ago, and just realized that through the joy of people through live shows and concerts and entertainment, you can do so much. And it's and then kind of morph that into my own little how do we make impact for some of these shows. So on the side, before I even got to band together, I put on charity events like 2 a year. So we still do a food and beer experience at DPAC in Durham, and we used to do a hospice event as well for a concert, and realized like, man, I got that itch. And so when I left DPAC, I missed it. And when the job came open to band together, and my predecessor, Matt Strickland, said, hey, put your name in the hat. It'd be great. And it just checks all the boxes for me. Like I get a chance to scratch that itch of being a promoter. Music community people is what I've always kind of strived for. And, it's pretty cool. Last 5-6 years have been really awesome, blending in the love of people in our community with live shows.
That's so cool, man. Yeah, I've been to a couple of your shows, like the benefit concerts you guys put on, and they're so cool, man. Good vibes, and you got some great musicians coming through too.
Been lucky, man. I think when I first started in 2017, I learned a lot of, I don't like losing on shows. The whole goal with our band together vibe is to try to break even, because that show is our platform for fundraising. It's a help to bring the community together. But ultimately, the more people that come to those shows and the more people that see our product and help the community and put money into the cause, the better it is for us. So started to completely change the way we looked at things and saying, how do we get some of these artists, these up-and-comers, or how do we wrestle these artists away, because there's so much competition in the market. Besides venues, promoters, of course. So just trying to get that little small piece of the pie. And we've been really lucky the last 3 or 4 years, starting with St. Paul and then Krungbin back into Turnpike Troubadours last year, and then this year with Jason Isbell in the 400 unit. So really cool singer-songwriters. Try to get something different every year. Not always my dream always comes true. We have to pivot a lot, which is the worst word ever in 2020. But, we try to at least bring some fun community each year, something different. We've been lucky, but I'm happy for it.
I love it, man. And you guys do a great job mixing it up too. You got like the big artists, and then you also support a lot of the local musicians. So like for instance, that Krungbin show, that was like one of my favorite concerts. Such a good band. And I know you discovered them pretty early like me. And then you've also brought in a lot of the rotating local acts keep coming through too, right?
Yeah, and we've been lucky, man. It's like for that kind of stuff, those are the exciting things where you're like, let's roll the dice on something. And I saw them in 2017. And fell in love with what their vibe was. And I was like, I think that they can sell the bigger stage. And, I think some people in the industry weren't ready to think that they could sell 4,000, 5,000 seats. But it was cool to be able to put that a part of it, sold out for us, blended in some Lee Fields with some Big Daddy Kane, who's still local here. But yes, to answer your question, we like to do mini events throughout the year and highlight local musicians. So, I think it's a little bit of blend of both. We're highlighting our local nonprofit community. Our mission at Band Together is really connecting the community to nonprofits through the power of live music. But why can't we support local artists and local nonprofits? And I think that's the beauty of the blend for me.
So cool. And you're also a musician too. So tell me about your passion for music as a musician and as an executive director for a nonprofit in the music biz.
Probably a poor musician. Let's just call it that. No, but we have fun. Like all of our venue guys, that some of my buds who at the time were all part of the venue business, and they're very good. Pat from Lincoln Theater and Evan from Walnut Creek and Taylor, who used to be here, one of the GMs at Red Hat and at Coca Booth, we got together and just played music and had some fun. So I write, and I write really shallow lyrics so that I can remember them, but really powerful hooks so that you hum them later. So, it's our fun. Like the whole goal is for me is like when you're on stage and you're seeing people enjoy themselves. There's like that. That's a buzz, and that's such a incredible high, and I love that feeling of of playing in front of people poorly sometimes, but that's fun. But to mirror that with what we do now is like that's the excitement, man. It's like, I love music, and there is in my job, there really is two different things. Like, we're an unconventional nonprofit. We're that little engine that could for 22 years, but to be able to do this music promoter aspect of it, working on deals and relationships, and I think that's a lot of things for me in life is relationships, and then being able to highlight these nonprofits in that way and all come together on stage. I mean, this could not be cooler for me. So yeah, I mean, I love it. I would love to. Unfortunately, we haven't played in a while, so love to dust off the band eventually, and maybe for my birthday in the next couple of years we'll come back out. So we'll see.
There you go, the hard life of a rock star, right?
Yes, exactly.
Cool. So speaking on nonprofits, like in general, can you give any advice to someone who's thinking about starting a nonprofit or wanting to work for a nonprofit, and what are the struggles that come along with that?
I think the first and foremost thing you got to do is do your homework, do some research. There's a lot of nonprofits here locally, and there's some amazing ones that honestly don't get the love that they probably deserve. You look at the landscape of what you're doing. Passion is the key, and drive, right? It's not easy work, but I mean, I think there's so many people that I can look to and inspire to be like, who have the passion for this industry. So do your homework, look and see in that field who are other players in the market, meaning, other partners that you can collaborate with too as well. There's been so much, what I will say in 2020 is there's been so much collaboration with nonprofits, more than they have ever been. There's competition for dollars. There's competition. Everybody wants to impact lives, but we're all kind of, tight knit to our group and to what we do. But I think the more collaboration you can provide and the more ideas, I wouldn't say don't do the knee jerk, do some homework first, research, but passion's the key to all of it. And I think I've seen organizations that literally doesn't make, like, as far as like have everything going against them, behind the eight ball, succeeding and impacting incredible amount of people here locally. So you can get it done. You just have to have the right people. And I think also building the right relationships to help you with that foundational piece of putting a nonprofit to life and working from there.
For sure. So as a leader, how do you manage your team, keep a healthy culture with your employees and your contractors and your volunteers so you don't get burnt out?
Yeah, I mean, burnout is a everybody gets burned out, right? But I think for me, it's like bringing the joy and bringing the love and passion for something. Like, it's easy to get burned out. There's plenty of moments where all of us probably go, "Oh man, it's just tough today." But I love it's also selecting different goals each year, trying to just get bigger and bigger. Like, each year, what can we do that's a little different than last year? So maybe it's putting together new goals, but for me, it's just really trying to keep it light, have some fun. A lot of the work we do with impact with our nonprofit partners, there's some tear-jerking moments, and it's like, how do you just keep that light, understanding that we're doing the fun stuff, they're doing the hard stuff, and making sure that we are supportive. But again, I go back to passion, joy, and fun. Like, I just like to keep the smile going even when it's a tough day. And, I think more and more now it's like, listen, feel the pulse. And self-awareness is key to life. So hopefully I have that. So we'll figure that out.
Awesome. So like on the networking and fundraising side, you have like a pretty strong network. A lot of people, pretty well-connected Raleigh-Durham area. How important is the networking for the sales and the growth and the biz dev side of Band Together and what you guys are after?
Everything. That's everything. I mean, I think one of the cool things before starting a Band Together, you had, it humbles me to see the amount of passion and the amount of people that were already part of this organization. So, coming in, my big goal 6 years ago was trying to find the foundational pieces, right? So with everything, and that goes back to the nonprofits and the success they have, you have to find the foundational pieces, the people that really care about what you're doing in your organization. But you see, we have almost 20 board members, 60 community board members, 30 full-time volunteers that come back for our steering committee that help guide our concert and our VIP experience for our sponsors. These people have just passion for what we're doing. And keep that vibe going. But I think for me, building those relationships, then finding each year, one of the things we identified right away is you have to expand your well. You can't always rely on the same people all the time because that gets burned out, what you were just talking about. So for me, it's like targeting the right where do we need to see? Maybe it's life sciences, maybe it's tech. how do we get more people involved? We just hosted a volunteer event last night and had an amazing turnout, a bunch of new people who wanted to learn about a little bit more about what we do. And I think it's just being transparent and being open, but understanding that it's a lot of coffees, it's a lot of getting together, and it's a lot of that fun work. To be honest with you, for me, I'd rather be in front of somebody than be behind a desk anyways. But it's could not be more key. I mean, working on networking and building relationships and not going to the same people all the time. And then also, it's not always about writing a check. It's time, talent, treasure. Some people can really provide an amazing amount of resources just by, listening to you and letting you know different avenues to go in a situation. So we've been very fortunate band together, but I've also been, very fortunate to be able to bring in some of the people that I have relationships over the years with and try to build this brand bigger. That's
so awesome. I've noticed you guys are really good about, like, you've brought us out to film a lot of your events. You work on doing content a lot for your events. So how do you leverage content to spread awareness for what you guys are working on?
Yeah, I was talking to Hannah today, our program director, and she said, band together is just an experiential thing. It's a feeling. When you go to a show and you see the vibe of people just dancing or having fun or singing a song, you see what's, the nonprofits on stage and watching videos of what's going on. It always brings out feelings. And I think video is such an important piece to that. And so, like, for me, like, capturing video in that space and the vibe for the moment, that's the biggest thing to leverage, is how do you bundle up this experiential thing and put it out there so people can really feel the love and passion that Band Together has for the community, but not just for that, for live music. And so, yeah, we do. And I think, this day and age, there's a lot of static out there. I mean, man, it's like, it's hard to cut through. You have to pay to play. You have to get out there. But, social media is its own animal, so you have to have good content to try to bust through that static a little bit. And so it's fun. It's really fun collaborating. We had a blast collaborating with y'all. You've done such a great job for us with our telethon event in 2020. And I think that's like the vibe and feeling is like producing good content. People get excited for it. And I see some of these local Instagram and bloggers, and I mean, there's just amazing amount of people that's producing an amazing. I mean, I don't think people realize it's not easy putting together content. So it's getting to with the right people and producing the right vibe, I should say. But yeah, it's huge. I'm not saying we need to do more of it, to be honest with you, but I feel like, in the most part, we got to capture as what we can as that feeling that we provide.
Love it, man. Speaking of, like, the pandemic, how did that change fundraising for nonprofits, and, like, what tools are you using now that resulted from that change?
Yeah, I mean, everybody Zoom. It's like it was hard. You couldn't be in front of people, but I will say, it was difficult. But a lot of people stepped up in that time, right? And again, it feels like it is 3 years ago when it started, which is bizarre to think about. But yeah, we did a lot of. I think we try to blend in what we realized from 2020. I still feel like I don't know how to use a Zoom, which is ridiculous at this point in my life. We do that all the time. But Zoom calls have made it easier. I do like seeing somebody in person. It helps build that relationship. The phone is great if you want a quick call, but people feel better when they're looking at somebody. They truly do. And so, blending that in, being able to touch more people. And honestly, I know it's kind of weird, but I like my coffee meetings. I like my luncheons or beer meetings, but it is quick and efficient when you can set up, 3 different calls in the morning. You can still be in front of somebody, and it allows you to see more people quickly rather than, the drive time. So don't want to get lazy there, but it's great to have that blend of a little bit of both. I'm not sure if I answered that question properly, but I do feel like 2020 kind of, there was some positives in a weird way that came out of it as far as being able to connect and utilize some things that we weren't utilizing before. So yeah, again, I think fundraising is hard no matter what, and we're getting to that zone again where, it's a tricky time in our society, or I should say our world, where the economy is always worrying people. So, fundraising is a constant thing. It's building relationships, and again, it's that. I think if people trust you and they want to be a part of what you're doing and they understand what you're doing for the community, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said about the Zoom calls, man. Just being on so many Zoom calls the past 3 years, it's so exhausting in its own way, and it's harder to make that like in-person connection. I'm with you. I really prefer those in-person coffee meetings. It's just more, and now that we're finally out of the pandemic, it's a lot easier to do that. But man, I was just, I'd be happy if I never had to do another Zoom call ever again. But it's part of, like you said, you can be more efficient with your time. It's good for business, but I'm with you on the in-person stuff. So, your wife works for a nonprofit too. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, she's the rock star, man. She's amazing. She works for a organization called One of Us. It used to be 1 in 9, and it's supporting women's breast gynecological and breast cancer and gynecological cancer here locally. It's the pink trash cans around town. What I love about that is her founder, Stephanie and Eric Bagelin, came together when Stephanie had diagnosed with breast cancer, and the doctor said it was 1 in 9 women will get breast cancer, and now that number is way higher than that. So that's why they changed to One of Us. But they're not about the cure, but they're about hope. And I love seeing that. I didn't think my wife and I probably never thought we'd both be in the nonprofit game about 15 years ago, but I think it kind of was our calling in a way. And she's just passionate for people, and unreal organization. I would say everybody should look up One of Us, because it really does for women who are going through a really tough time of having to go through treatments. Not just they're there to help drive them to treatments, help pay for groceries and lunch, and take care of the family, and really just kind of be an extension of their family during this time of a little scary moment. And they provide a lot of hope and financial support as well, and they partner with the hospitals here locally. But those are the kind of things where you see the impact and you see the people that they touch. That's the cool stuff. And I think that's one thing for me. We do this big, huge concert every year, and we see a lot of faces, and we know we touch a lot of faces, but to be able to build those relationships are some things that I miss a little bit too as well. We build those relationships, but they actually are the ones that are in that family setting and taking these people and really are the extension of who they are in that family. And it's a pretty cool organization.
That's so cool. I didn't know about that. That's awesome. Okay, so here's a fun one.
Yeah.
If money were no object,
oh yeah,
what would your dream event be?
Well, I'm a dreamer anyway, so I'm still trying to make these things work even when money is an object. So that's my goal in life. I would love to a couple things. And I'm probably people are like, "Ooh, Thorne, are you going to do that?" But no, this big picture. I would love to put on a large festival similar to what they do in Dreamville, and be able to have this as like kind of a nonprofit day here, a community event, 2-day event. Have 50, 60,000 people show up, have some incredible artists. But I'd also love to be able to have a band together day where, how cool would it be if, this little engine that could have a franchise in other different cities, and you have a day where it's supporting, one big cause for the year, and you have 6 different concerts, throughout different cities. That would be awesome. That's if money's no object, right? That's a big picture. That's a long-term goal. Don't know if that will ever happen. But that being said, like I just love the fact of when you see these big. When I grew up, I think it was 1985. I was 10 years old, and I watched Live Aid, and I was like, it just had such an impression on me. You seeing all these incredible artists come together, and now you see them, back in the movie now with Bohemian Rhapsody, and you see the U2 footage, and just see the incredible performances, and you're like, man, that would be so cool to have something where we could bring us back together in a bigger way. And our goal is, the more people that come to our events, the more people that see what we're doing, it's better for our nonprofit partners. So the more we can market our organization, it's a direct impact on everyone else. So, but yeah, I want more people. It's good. But that being said, you got to make a smart business decision. You have to be careful what you're doing, because that's not always easy. As the old saying is, if you want to lose $1 million, go do a festival. So, not saying that's going to happen, but I think that would be the ultimate goal to attain.
Man, that sounds awesome. So, for the concert in Raleigh, what would the dream lineup be then? Do you have a wish list that?
I mean, I guess I have a wish list. The tricky thing is I can't say too much about it.
Right, right.
These are people I'm still talking to. Yep. So, I think, put it this way, if you're going to do something big like that, and you're going to have somebody who can sell 20,000 tickets. I mean, you can't put together a huge, especially at Dick's Park where, J. Cole does his incredible event. that's a huge undertaking. It takes a week to put that together. It takes about 4 days to break it down. So there's a lot of expenses there. It's building out with no infrastructure. So, when you're doing that and you're kind of rolling the dice a little bit, weather and everything else, I mean, you have to have some artists who, my ultimate goal too is always to have a couple artists, bigger name artists that would really kind of help curate the show and be a part of this and, make Band Together kind of their own as well. So that would be pie in the sky. And I usually always give up some tidbits there, but I don't want to say any artists right now. So.
Hey, I don't blame you. I'm sure you got a lot of big names.
You too would be great.
Yeah, Smashing Pumpkins, etc. Yeah, cool. So outside of your role as a leader at Band Together, what other nonprofits have you donated to, or are you interested in supporting locally and nationally? Is there any other favorite organizations?
There's a lot, right? And that's what the beautiful thing is. And a lot of our friends and our networks are in nonprofit work as well. And honestly, where your building is right here, our partner, the United Way, is upstairs, and they've been such a great partner of ours for 4 or 5 years and really helped us solidify our foundation in a weird time where Band Together relies on shows to kind of move forward. In 2020, we couldn't do it. So, but like I said, I already plugged my wife's nonprofit, One of Us, but there's a lot of great organizations, and I feel awful because I'll start naming them, then I'm going to forget like 10 of them. But the Hope Brothers Foundation, Liz McLean, who's on our board, she's great, and there's just, to me, we just supported in our March event this year, Shanetta Harrell for No Woman, No Girl, who really is an amazing woman. You want to talk about someone who started with like a small dream about helping women here locally who don't have access to the everyday essentials and no confidence, and she's helping 1,000 women right now locally, and so there's some inspiring people, and I think that's the big thing for me is that there's a lot of incredible organizations. I mean, you can go down the list of ones and ones you don't know. I mean, there's hundreds of organizations. We partnered this year with 20 organizations for accessible housing, but these are it's the people behind it, really. It's the passion people. That's where I get inspired by, because they really help drive it, and I think that's the big thing for me.
That's so cool. Yeah, shout out to United Way guys, Devin and Nick. They're great. They're our neighbors upstairs. And you guys have written quite a few checks to them, some big checks as well, right?
Well, vice versa, right? So we don't. Yeah, so we're partners. So we actually go on this. The campaign is for us both to combine forces to raise money for other nonprofit partners. So we're not writing checks for them. We're raising money with them and these nonprofit partners to impact their. So like this year we have 20 nonprofit partners. So United Way and Band Together will help raise those funds to try to get to the $1 million with their help. But really, our goal for this campaign is to put these 20 nonprofits on a pedestal. So they're kind of an extension of us, and we're an extension of them. We came together as collaborators because United Way does support 70 to 80, 90 nonprofits a year. They do this community readers thing where, you have 500 local community leaders or just anybody who else, members, you, myself, I was reading too as well, applications. They want to support their these different organizations. So we work together, we collaborate together, but our main goal is to try to put as many dollars into the community through these incredible organizations. So this year it's housing accessibility for the second time. The need was huge, of course. Next year will be something completely different, but our goal is to really just try to bring as much money and much resources back to our partners.
Man, that's awesome. I know it's making a big impact on a local scale too, so that's awesome. You guys are working together. Thanks for clarifying that. I wasn't exactly sure.
No, yeah.
Works, so.
I didn't want to put that in. I was like, nope, I'm not writing them a check. They're not writing me a check.
Yeah,
we're good.
Cool.
But either way, it's a great partnership.
Yeah, great. So how can people find out more about Band Together, donate to the cause, follow your fundraising journey?
So yes, a couple things. bandtogethernc.org. Get all the information on our website, but just follow us on the channels, right? The social channels. But we have a lot of fun stuff coming this year. So we're hoping for another sellout. We're trending that way this year. I'd say, come out to the show. Jason Isbell, 400 Unit, October 7th. Going to be awesome. He's an incredible singer-songwriter. We're going to be announcing some openers here shortly to open the show, which is always fun. And, helping with the fundraising campaign is always great. We have information on our site, the media kit. We just finished up our 5-6 page sponsor kit too as well for all the information that you need. And just get involved. There's different ways of getting involved. Volunteer. day of show, there's volunteers that are helping us steer this incredible block party. I kind of call band together like the, in a way, anti-gala, because we're celebrating, and these are men and women here locally who are coming together wearing jeans shorts for some, and having a good time. The money's been raised, and we're celebrating community. And, I think that's like the big thing for me, is like just bringing everybody together and one platform. So be there, be a part of it. We're always, reach out to me, reach out to any of us. We're here to answer your questions. But if you like music and you like people, I feel like we're a good basis for that.
Very cool. I highly encourage everybody to follow Thorne and band together, and come check out some of their local concerts and support the cause.
Awesome, man.
Thanks for your time, Thorne. This was fun.
Thanks, Will. Enjoyed it. Let's keep on going.
Let's go.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, that's a wrap for Polling Focus.